Hi, welcome to Beers with Brownie. We're an International Rugby League YouTube show where we interview some International Rugby League legends who put their blood, sweat and tears into growing the game around the world. So guys, if you're new to the channel, for every 100 subscribers until we hit 1,000, we're going to give 10 balls away to developing International Rugby League nations all across the world. So please drop a like and subscribe and help support our channel. So at the time of recording, we've just surpassed 600 subscribers, so thanks everyone for your support. We've sent 10 balls off to Vanuatu, and we've also got 10 balls heading to Ghana, Cameroon, the Solomon Islands, Greece, Russia, and when we hit 700 subscribers, Cleveland Rugby League. So we're still going to send 10 balls out when we hit 800, 900 and 1,000 subscribers, so please drop a comment to where you think these balls should go. So we're going to upload YouTube videos for when these balls arrive to the destination, so you the viewer can see how these balls are getting put to good use and to help develop the game internationally. Okay, so if we can hit 10,000 subscribers, I know it's a long way off, but never say never, and we can monetize this YouTube channel. For every cent we make, we want to help fund a domestic competition in the Solomon Islands. So we want to help with resource, coach education, referee education and so forth, so they can play rugby league on a regular basis. So I'd like to welcome our special guest for this episode, Greek Rugby League women's head coach, former Aris Eagles head coach, the Greek men's Rugby League World Cup media manager, freelance commentator and journalist, Stuart McLennan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brownie. Great to be here.
So every episode we like to support a beer that supports rugby league. So for this episode, we're going with Tetley's Ale. So Tetley's, they've been a long time sponsor of the Leeds Rhinos. They've also sponsored the Warrington Wolves. They've sponsored Super League. They've sponsored the Challenge Cup. And they're also the Dewsbury Rams stadium sponsor, which is called Tetley's Stadium. So Tetley's, thanks very much for your support of rugby league. Cheers, Stuart.
Cheers, Brownie.
So every episode, I also like to show my support for International Rugby League by wearing an item of merchandise. So for this episode, I'm going with the Malta Knights, who are a close neighbour of Greek Rugby League. And I'd just like to give a big shout out to David Axisa, Anthony Micallef and Roderick Adhard, and all the hard-working team involved with Malta Rugby League. Keep up the good work, guys, and all the best. So Stuart, tell us, how did you come to love rugby league, and who was your team that you supported growing up?
All right, yeah, loving rugby league. It actually happened here in Tamworth. We're here in Tamworth at the moment. I was at East Tamworth School, about 7 years old. East Tamworth had a rugby league team. It was a blue jersey with a yellow V. I think they're called Tamworth Public now. They used to be called East Tamworth, and we'd play all the schools around Tamworth and some of the areas around like Manila and etc. And
yep.
I just absolutely loved being there and playing rugby league. It was just the world to me. Around the same time, which is going back a long way, showing my age, but my dad bought me a Balmain jersey because he was in Sydney and he'd lived in Leichhardt for quite a while, and
right.
They were in the grand final, 69 grand final, and he bought me a Balmain jersey, which I just wore until it just wouldn't stay on again. And it was that, up until I was still wearing it to training when I was 14, sort of thing.
Yeah.
He brought me into rugby league, and after we moved from Tamworth down to Sydney, we were here a few years and then moved down to Sydney. The greatest thing in the world for me was to be able to go to these mythical grounds that I'd only read about in Rugby League Week, like Leichhardt Oval, Henson Park, Cumberland Oval, Brookvale Oval, all those sort of places, and watch rugby league with my dad and sit on the hill, and that just got me into it forever. As to which team do I support, obviously Balmain. Balmain then became West Tigers. Didn't like that at the start, but you've grown to love it.
Yeah.
For my sins, I've had to take a lot of losses with West Tigers, but that's the way it is, and you pick and stick, as they say in Balmain. So that's where I am with rugby league, and that's how I loved it. But it was sitting on the hills eating a pie with my dad. North Sydney Oval was another oval that we went to a lot.
Yeah, beautiful.
Just
oval.
Beautiful old grounds, and great atmosphere. you know, and in those days you could run onto the field and try and get the corner post, or you'd pat your idols, you know, on the back. And in those days, Balmain, the first few days when I was a really young kid, Arthur Beetson was playing for Balmain, so he became my favourite player. He left Balmain, you know, obviously not long after that, but Arthur Beetson, just incredible footballer, and great ambassador for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So which position or positions did you play growing up, Stuart?
Yeah, look, when I was really young, I played in the halves, but I got a bit too tall for that. But I always had a bit of speed, funnily enough, when I was young, which has disappeared now. So I played in the centres, even a bit of wing, back row. They were sort of the positions I played growing up. You know, probably final games I probably should have been as a prop, but you know, that's the way it goes. But yeah, I just love playing, to be honest.
And what year was, like, how old were you when you stopped playing rugby league?
Yeah, look, well, to be honest with you, I did probably rugby league was sort of late teens playing, and then I did play some union, basically, but because where I was living and friends and stuff like that. So I played some union then. Yep. You know, as far as the games go, I much prefer rugby league, but I didn't mind playing rugby union. So yep. I probably played rugby union into early 20s, and then, you know, sort of other priorities sort of came up for a while. Never lost the love for the game of rugby league in particular. Always, you know, went and watched a lot of games, you know, talked about it, you know, even wrote about it at times. And, you know, was a die-hard Balmain, you know, member and all that sort of thing for a lot of years. Go to all the home games and a lot of the away games. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So, Stuart, after your rugby league playing days, you decided to get into coaching. So what made you decide to become a coach?
Look, I think it was just my love for the game and wanting to keep getting involved with the game. And I think as a coach, you can make a difference to people's lives, not just on the field but off the field as well. And you know, that's something that I think always interested me. Oh,
awesome! So that leads me into my next question. So you become the Aris Eagles head coach in Greece in the Greek domestic competition. So how did you end up in Greece?
Yeah, look, my wife works for the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. She's a diplomat. So she was offered a posting to Athens.
Wow.
And at the time I was working at the Australian Institute of Sport. But look, it was too exciting to pass up. So we decided in 2016 to go over to Greece. She obviously for her job, and then I was obviously looking for something to get involved in while I was over there.
Oh, awesome. So tell us about your experiences being involved with the Greek domestic competition.
Yeah. So what happens when I went over there? I'd like the Greek rugby. I found Greek Rugby League on Facebook, and I'd liked the page. Didn't really know how to get involved. I was over in Athens. You know, obviously didn't speak Greek, and I was wondering, you know, what am I going to do while I'm here? You know, I want to get involved with the community. My wife was, you know, working long hours, so it was really about me finding something meaningful. And as luck would have it, the Greek president, George Stylianos, sent me a message through Facebook Messenger.
Right.
And said, "Oh, I saw you liked our Facebook page and it looks like you're in Athens. Are you here very long?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm actually here for 3 years."
Right.
And he said, "Well, we're going to watch a State of Origin match. I think it could have been the third State of Origin match in 2016.
Yep.
At an Irish pub in Athens. Would you like to come?" And it was like, would I ever?
Yeah.
You know, like, nice. This is fantastic, and this is exactly what I've been looking for. Connection with people. So I went to the pub. I met George and a lot of both Greek Australians, but a lot of guys that were born and bred in Greece as well, who just love rugby league and, you know, really enjoyed the Origin. And I said, "Oh, this is just magic."
Yeah.
George already, as soon as I got there, sort of started talking to me about possibilities of coaching. They were looking to resurrect, at that time, the Athens City Raiders, who eventually did get resurrected, but at the time they didn't have enough people.
Yeah.
So I said, look, you know, when the opportunity comes up, you know, I'd love to coach. And in the meantime, I did a lot of sort of I suppose, promotional media stuff for the Greek Rugby League, just to get them out there, get them, more profile in Australia and within Greece.
Awesome.
And then a guy called Aristotle, who was sort of the leader at RS Eagles, approached me and said, we're going to go into the Balkan Super League. I think we need to ramp things up a bit as far as our development and our level of playing. Would you be interested?
Wow.
I went down to training, and I think it was about 3 weeks later we were off to Belgrade to play Partizan, and we got absolutely smashed, but that was fine. The guys absolutely loved the trip. Funnily enough, they even apologised to me for losing, and I said, look, that's not a problem. Let's start working on things like defence and stuff like that, and we went from there.
So Stuart, for those that don't know about the Greek Rugby League domestic competition or don't know much about it, so how many teams are there, and is there a lot of travel involved for games?
Yeah, look, currently and amazingly enough, during the COVID period, they're actually increasing their numbers of teams. So there's a number of little teams that probably don't have enough players yet, but are forming and building at the moment. Teams like Parama, Lamia, etc. But generally established teams, I think there's 8 clubs at the moment that can play regularly. As far as travel, yes, there is. I mean, you've got the island of Rhodes, you've got Rhodes Knights, who've got a very similar colours to your T-shirt there, the Malta Knights. And they're actually the champions. But to get to Rhodes, I mean, you either need a flight or a ferry. It can be time-consuming and expensive for the Greek guys. You've got places like Larissa, which is in the middle of Greece, so that's a sort of 7 or 8 hour bus trip or whatever you want to do. So there's a core of Athens team. I think there's 4 Athens teams functioning at the moment, so that's sort of a bit easier logistically to manage. But there's teams outside of that as well. So there's quite a bit of travel.
So Stuart, tell us about what the Greek Rugby League women's scene's like, and you later became the first ever Greek women's national coach for their first ever game against Turkey. So tell us about that experience as well. Yeah,
so, excuse me, the Greek women's, coming from Australia, I was probably used to, and particularly working at the Australian Institute of Sport, I was used to women's sport, sort of building and being, reasonably established. There's still some work to do, but it's getting better and better all the time. Coming to Greece, when I first went there was no women teams at all. And it was something I'd said to George, look, it'd be a good idea to have women, and he agreed. And we had a few women that would just sometimes turn up to training. Like Rhodes had a female player, just one female player. She decided she wanted to learn about rugby league.
Train with the boys.
Yeah, train with the boys. And that sort of started to happen at the RS Eagles. Started with first of all, just a couple of partners of the guys, wives and girlfriends. Then they told friends, and I'd sort of made a connection with rugby union there as well. I'd sort of helped coach, I was asked to help coach a Panathinaikos, a rugby union women's team there. So I asked some girls there, no pressure or anything, I'm not, but if you're interested, we're training here, and they all sort of said, yeah, great,
give it a go.
Come. And it just sort of built from there, and at one time I think we had 22 girls training with the team, which was amazing.
Excellent.
The biggest problem was finding games to play, so there was a team of about 7 or 8 girls at Patras, so we'd go and play nines, or they'd come, and we had a couple of nines game. They put on a nines tournament in Athens, which was great for the girls, and a team from Red Star came, etc, etc. But one of the things that George Stylianos and Terry Liberopoulos here wanted to do was just to have an international game, to get the interest in, just because it's great. So it was decided that we'd play Turkey, and we put a squad together, which was mainly my RS Eagles girls. There was one girl training with the Athens City Raiders, and about 4 or 5 that were with Patras. We put them all together. Had some training sessions which were logistically quite hard because of the distance in Patras, and so we'd travel to Patras or they'd come to Athens. Put them all together, a number of training sessions. But these are girls that never played some of them have played rugby union, but there's not really any touch football or tag or anything like that. So a lot of the girls have not only never played rugby union, they've never played a team sport before growing up. It's a little bit different over in Greece.
Yeah.
So there was a lot to learn there for them. But the thing about them is they've got absolutely great spirit, and it's all about having fun for them. Like, you know, sport is fun, and so that's the environment that we wanted to create as well.
Right.
I put together a couple of Jim Minodakis and Christos Mouzakitis, the two Greek guys that helped me put it all together, and obviously with the language skills as well.
Yeah.
And we went on a 26-hour bus ride to Turkey, at Edirne in Turkey.
Wow.
Played Turkey. Turkey had already had a competition by that stage for a couple of seasons, so they were a lot more ahead of us, and they'd also played international games, I think, against Italy and Lebanon.
Yep.
So we were the less experienced team, but the girls just loved it. You know, we didn't win, but it was, you know, it was the start of something. And unfortunately, you know, that was 2019. COVID obviously came. That set it back a bit, obviously, and so now the clubs are restarting and they have to re-recruit and all that sort of thing. But RS Eagles have got a team, Attica Rhinos have got a team, Athens City Raiders have got a team, Patras has still got a team. So there's four teams there at the moment.
That's excellent.
And I think once things settle down a bit with the pandemic, it'll go from strength to strength. And look, we you know, the aim is, you know, 2025 World Cup, you know, we'll give it a shot to qualify. We set up a Greek-Australian group here and played in the Sydney Nines last February.
Yep.
Again, just 2 training sessions. We had a good mixture of girls there, you know, a couple that had played NRLW, or one that played NRLW, a lot of them in the Harvey Norman.
Yep.
We made the final. We got beaten in the last seconds by Lebanon, the Sydney Nines. But again, a wonderful experience, and the aim there is to do exactly what we do with the men's team, is have a core of heritage players who will then work with the domestic players, and we'll build a team around that, and, you know, hopefully World Cup 2025, that's our aim. So
excellent.
Yeah.
So what was the score against Turkey? And just from memory, there was a Greek girl that ended up getting picked up at Castleford Tigers. So how did that all come about?
Yeah, okay. So the Greek girl that, all right, let's talk about the two things. So the score was 40-4.
Not a bad effort.
Yeah, so it wasn't bad considering our level of experience.
Yep.
So and look, I'd say if we played them again in 12 months' time, you know, we'd be a lot closer.
Yeah, 100%.
Now the girl that got picked up by Castleford Tigers, her name is Maria. She was the girl that was training with Rhodes Knights. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it to the national team game, so didn't play that. We obviously would have loved to have had her there, but she moved to Castleford or to the north of England to attend university, and she got picked up there, which is fantastic, given that she before that had never played a game of rugby league. And the other thing I'll say about our team is we'd never played a 13-a-side game before that international. They'd played a couple of nines games, but they hadn't played 13-a-side. So that was an amazing experience as well.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about, it's a learning curve for these girls.
Absolutely.
And the results secondary, and as you progress, you'll see those score lines becoming closer and closer.
Yeah, and at that stage, it's all about just teaching them the basic skills and getting a little bit of structure, but not trying to push too much onto them at the one time. And look, the main thing is that they enjoy the sport and grow to love the sport.
Yeah,
you know, that's certainly what my aim was.
Yeah, no, excellent. So Stuart, as I mentioned in the introduction, you are the Greek Men's Rugby League World Cup Media Manager. So tell us, how did that all come about, and what's the role entail? Yeah,
look, that's obviously been some false starts there with the World Cup not being on. Look, I think I've as you know, I work as a freelance journalist as part of my time. A lot of that work has been trying to help and promote Greek Rugby League by drawing out the stories of both the domestic and heritage players, and sort of giving the state of play of Greek Rugby League documented. When I spoke to Terry Liberopoulos, who's been on this Beers with Brownie before.
Yeah, second episode.
we talked about that, and he said, look, well, you know, I'm going to be managing, you know, I'm the manager, so I can't do both roles. You know, Jerry's got a media background as well with his magazine, but so he said, would you be interested? And I said, absolutely. And the good thing that I suppose I can bring to it is I've got connections both in Australia and Greece. Having lived in 3 years in Greece, I connect with the players. I sort of understand a bit of the culture and what they're up against over there. So I think that's a good mix. I see my role before the World Cup is to promote what Greece is doing as much as I can in the media, particularly the mainstream media. And there's some people that are prepared to you know, buy into that from the media. And then while at the tournament, obviously just dealing with everything that comes up. But you know, we want this tournament for Greece to be about, you know, leaving a legacy. So not just about, you know, the time the tournament's on, but we're hoping that back in Greece and people in Australia will support the Greek Rugby League more than they do now, and we'll build our audience, I suppose.
Yeah, no, definitely. So the Rugby League World Cup, well, the 2021 Rugby League World Cup, which is now postponed to 2022, is the first time the Greek national team has qualified for the World Cup. So first of all, big congratulations to all the players, officials, coaching staff, everyone involved for making it to the World Cup. So congratulations.
Amazing effort from a number of people, yeah.
So tell us, which domestic players and which professional players should we keep an eye on when the tournament starts?
Yeah. Okay, domestic players, I'll start with them. So there was a guy that came to training at RS Eagles called Theodoros Nianakis. He scored a couple of tries in the game at London against Norway. Really raw back rower that's really benefited being part of the national team, particularly with a coach like Steve Georgalis coaching him.
Yep.
So he's one. Stefanos Bastas, who has played semi-professionally.
He was at Doncaster, wasn't he?
Yeah, Doncaster, Hemel Stags when they were around, and he's played French elite as well for St. Gardens, however you pronounce that. But
yep.
So he's got some experience there. There's another prop forward that's played French Elite 2 called Giannis Rusoglu. He's another RS Eagles guy. Right. You know, big, strong, athletic guy.
Excellent.
And and I think, you know, there's some guys that are probably on the fringe there that may or may not get picked. But you know, like with the squad, we're looking hopefully at having 8 domestic players there.
That's great.
As far as the heritage players, Billy Mcgoulias has just gone to Warrington.
Warrington Wolves, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one with the most NRL experience, but there's a few guys at South now that are really starting to come through. So the hooker Peter Mamozelis, he's in the top squad.
So he played a few NRL games in 2021.
He played some NRL games. Lachlan Ilias made his debut for South this year.
Yep.
And I believe Chase Robinson, sometimes called Chase Barulius, he's just signed to the top squad with South.
Excellent.
So there's that South Sydney crew, and then there's a number. I mean, Jordan Mead is a fantastic player. Won a grand final, under 20s grand final for the Warriors. Yep. Back in the day. And still a great player. So there's some really good guys, you know, that are on the cusp of the NRL, and then some good guys that are playing New South Wales Cup, Ron Massey, and in country rugby league as well.
Oh, excellent. So Stuart, after leaving Greece, you relocated down to Canberra. So since moving back to Canberra, you've been involved with the University of Canberra Rugby League team. You were on the coaching staff of the Canberra Raiders girls under-17s team. And you've also done some commentating for the Canberra Rugby League, competition. So you've certainly been keeping yourself busy. Yeah,
look, I have, and that's something I wanted to keep the rugby league involvement up when I returned from Greece, because I was on such a high from the stuff that we'd done in Greece that I wanted to keep it going. So University of Canberra, turned out the head coach there contacted me. I'd shown a bit of interest in getting involved there, and he contacted me and said, would you mind helping out? And so ended up sort of taking a manager's role, a bit of assistant coaching, but we got to the grand final of what was the reserve grade then team. We sort of, because of COVID, things got shifted around again, and we ran as the Canberra Raiders under-20s reserve grade team, basically. So that was a great experience. From there, I was looking at putting together a women's team at one of the Queanbeyan Roos in the Katrina Fanning Shield, but we didn't get enough players, so that didn't happen. So I thought I've still got to keep involved. I did get involved with the coaching staff of the Raiders under-17s. Unfortunately, that got shortened a bit because of COVID. You know, we had to cancel some sessions, and we also were going to play in a tournament and stuff. So a bit disappointing that didn't happen. But you know, a lot of things in this pandemic haven't happened. But great experience, and I learned a lot about coaching systems. And with the Raiders, everything comes from the top. So you know what Ricky Stewart's doing, you'll do down there with the under-17s girls, which I think is a great system to have, and a great learning environment for me to take to, you know, when I'm coaching the Greek women, etc., etc.
Yep.
The other thing I really enjoyed doing was the commentary. So it was the local Canberra Raiders Cup, which is a pretty good competition. A lot of the SG Ball and Jersey Flag, you know, guys, and when those competitions were cancelled, went back to the A grade there. Yep. You know, you've got guys like Terry Campese playing and people like that. Yep. And just a fun thing to do. The two things that I really love, you know, whether I'm writing, commentating or coaching, is either international or grassroots. NRL's great, but I'm not one for all the gossip and stuff that goes around with the NRL, but I just love international and grassroots footy. So it was a really good chance to get out to some of those country grounds at Yass and stuff and do some commentary. It's something I've sort of wanted to do for a long time, and I did a little bit of it in Europe, but it was really fun to do it here.
So move over Ray Warren.
Yeah, well, I'd like to have you some sort of salary and prestige, but you know, or Andrew Voss maybe.
Good old Vossy.
Yeah, I actually started at two Triple R radio. It was a volunteer radio station. Vossy and I started at the same time, so I knew him back in those days.
Awesome. And for those that don't know, Andrew Voss is a Chasing Maroons ambassador, so we love Vossy. So if you're watching Vossy, all the best.
Yeah, he's a great champion of international rugby league too, which is great.
Definitely.
So Stuart, as we touched on earlier, so you've moved back from Greece to Canberra, and you've coached the Australian-based Greek women's team to the Sydney Nines earlier in 2021. So tell us about that experience.
That was a fantastic experience. Another fantastic experience. Again, Terry Liveropoulos rang me and said, "Oh, you know, we're looking to put a Greek Australian women's group together. You know, with a lot of short-term and long-term goals." And so we both sort of thought about how do we advertise, get people to know. So we did a lot of work on social media and in the general and Greek groups and stuff like that. Yeah. Got quite a good response. And we got girls from a lot from Sydney, obviously, but also from Canberra. A couple from Brisbane, etc., etc. Yeah. So we thought we can't have too many training sessions because it'll be difficult. I was coming up from Canberra, but that was fine. But we had girls coming sort of, I think, from the Central Coast as well. So we put together 2 training sessions out at Campbelltown, and look, for me that was just about getting them to know each other, bit of bonding, run through a few drills, but nothing too complex and stuff like that. And let's have fun. Nines is about fun. Let's have some fun at the Sydney Nines. And I could see already that there was a couple of girls that sort of stood out as leaders, and that sort of became apparent from the start. One of them, Alex Mavrantonis, had been the one that had the idea with Terry to put a women's team together because she was keen to do it. Yep. Sam Economos was the other one, and she's obviously had some NRLW experience, etc., etc. Unfortunately, she got injured on the day of the tournament and didn't play, which is unfortunate, but these things happen. Yeah. So we put a couple of training sessions together. I wasn't really sure how they'd go. I knew there was some good teams in there. Like Malta and Cabramatta usually put on a good display, and then Lebanon, who we met in the final. But anyway, we went there. They exceeded expectations. The spirit and the leadership from the sort of ladies we'd identified was fantastic. Really, really proud of the way they went. We got to the final. Lebanon beat us in the last seconds with a fantastic, try that had about 16 passes in it.
Wow.
But we were very, very close. It was just a great experience, and it set us up to have a core of heritage players here in Australia that we'll use moving forward to work with our domestic players, and as I said, look to the 2025 World Cup as a possibility of qualification. You know, I see the great work that countries like Brazil and Canada have done and stuff to get there, and we'd like to get there too.
Yeah, no, awesome. Well, what a great achievement making the final. Congratulations for that result.
Thank you.
But I even hear the legendary Mary Kay from Ladies Who Lead made an appearance on the day to cheer on the girls.
She did. Mary was there and gave us great support, and Mary has been as we know, Mary is a great supporter of women's rugby league, well, women's sport, and then women's rugby league in particular. She supported us right from the start when we had that first domestic team that played the international against Turkey. She gave us support there. She continues to give us support, and it was just great to see her there on the day. And Billy Mcgoulias came out and handed out the jerseys as well, so that was great.
That's brilliant. Yeah,
yeah, it's great when you see people at that level, the NRL level, that still go back to the roots and their heritage and help out.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that former Golden Boot winner Jess Surgis has Greek background, or has Greek heritage. So
Yep.
Can we see her in a Greek jersey one day, do you think?
I would love to, Phil. We have reached out a couple of times, but look, I do understand that she's got her commitments and she has played for the Gillaroos. But if she wants to come and play for Greece, we'd be very happy to have her. She's a great player.
Yeah, no, 100%. So Stuart, for those that don't know, there's a Greek-Australian body that helped the game over here, and obviously a Greek body in Greece itself.
Yep.
So I was actually, I went to the Greek-Australian fundraiser at Brighton Le Sands last year, which was great. There was Michael Korkidis was in attendance, Braithen Nasta was in attendance, and it's great to see those Greek heritage former professional players giving back.
Yeah.
So tell us, how's the Greek-Australian body going at the moment?
Look, it's going well. You've got people like, Terry's obviously the driving force. Terry Liberopoulos is the driving force. Steve Georgalis, he's a professional coach at the NRL level, but he devotes a lot of time to Greece. Jim Pisanius, who's at Newtown, assistant coach there, has done a lot of work, and when Steve's not available, he takes over the head coaching role of the men's. It's a really good community, Phil. It's just like a very, very happy, supportive community. I never sort of imagined when I go over there that I'd become part of it. Obviously, I'm not Greek. You can tell by my name I'm not Greek, but they've drawn me in, made me part of the family. And the spirit and cooperation between Australia and Greece. I know I have seen, and I don't want to mention any countries or anything like that, but sometimes there can be a bit of tension between Australia and Greece. You don't see that, Australia and the other country, but with Australia and Greece you don't see that at all.
And now that I think about it, there's been a lot of Greek heritage coaches that are coached at the top level. So you've got Steve Georgalis, Jason Demetrio now at South, Arthur Katinas, who was a guest on Beers with Brownie, Jim Panzanis, who we've just mentioned. So what a wealth of coaching talent to have involved.
There absolutely is, and administrators as well. You've got Nick Politis at East, Nick Pappas,
South Sydney.
South Sydney. Mark Burris is involved with the Roosters as well. So rugby league and Greeks and rugby league in Australia have always, going back to George Paponis as captain of Australia, there's been a very close relationship.
Yeah, definitely. So Stuart, even after returning to Australia, you're still all about promoting international rugby league endeavours through your articles, your regular content with Everything Rugby League. So how did that all come about?
Yeah, so again, when, as I mentioned before, when I was in Greece, I was looking for things to, that I was passionate about, that would occupy me and things like that. So I really ramped up my freelance storytelling, and one thing the best thing to write about is what you know about. So I was getting involved with the Greek Rugby League, so I thought, let's combine the freelance writing that I want to do with rugby league stories. And it started out with I wrote a story for a Greek Australian newspaper called Neos Cosmos.
All right.
And there was a young guy. He sort of took me in a bit at Athens and showed me the ropes, called Johnny Narke, who still plays for the Attica Rhinos and is representing Greece. And so I wrote a story on him, and it all worked very well. And I thought, I'm going to keep this up, And so Neos Cosmos, didn't want a heap of rugby league stuff, so I thought I need to look for other outlets. So I started approaching websites and said, here's some stories I've wrote. Would you be interested? Everything Rugby League was one of those. I mean, they've supported me for a number of years in that, basically they say whatever you want to write about, and we'll see where we go. I mean, it's never going to make me a millionaire, but it makes me happy to promote International Rugby League. And what I like is to draw out stories on people who are doing interesting things around the country, whether they be Australians going over and playing International Rugby League, or the people that have found Rugby League in Serbia, in Greece, in any of those countries that are fairly new to Rugby League, Turkey. So they're the stories that I write, and I do it because I enjoy it and I'm passionate about it. And as I say, I love to see organisations like Everything Rugby League or Chasing Roos, support these things.
So Stuart, that leads me into my next question. So you've recently become a part of the Chasing Roos team, so welcome to the team, which will be providing some regular content for our website. Are you excited about the new role?
I'm incredibly excited because I know obviously I've known you, and I know Carbs, and I know how passionate you guys are about International Rugby League. And I love drawing, as I said, I love drawing stories out on International Rugby League players, and I've already written one that's going to come out at some point, and I'm really excited about that. And there's more to come, and I just love working with people that are as passionate about the game as I am.
Yeah, no, excellent. So I'm hearing in 2022 you're back heading overseas again. So can you share where you'll be going and what's in store?
Yeah, look, life brings twists and turns, I've found, as I've got, much older. And this is another one. My wife has been offered another posting. It's in Seoul, South Korea.
Right. Okay.
So we're heading off there soon. And at this stage, I don't think there's ever been rugby league playing there, but I'm going to try and change that.
Excellent.
I'll do my best anyway.
So South Korea Rugby League, watch this space.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, let's go.
So 2022 is going to be a big year for you. You've got the Rugby League World Cup coming up. So yeah, very exciting times.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this World Cup. Not just, I'm really excited for Greece and how we'll go, but just being there, and I've been and watched World Cup matches, but to be actually part of the whole machine that's going on behind with World Cup, I'm just really excited. And the guys that are running and promoting the World Cup, the 2021 World Cup, which is now 2022, I've been incredibly impressed with the way they've been promoting it and managing it. Yeah,
it's been, from an outsider looking in, it looks like it's going to be a professional World Cup, and it's going to be fantastic. And I'm sure you're going to have a great time and a great experience. I mean, just personally, I was part of the USA Hawks at the 2017 World Cup, and one of the best experiences of my life. I don't think I'll ever be able to do it again. Maybe, who knows? But going to Papua New Guinea and seeing how these players were treated like rock stars, and being based in Townsville, and it was fantastic. So I'm sure you're going to have some great experiences that you'll have forever.
Yeah, look, I'm really looking forward to it, and being based in the Greek team's going to be based in Sheffield, and I've already had sort of people from Sheffield coming and saying, you guys are, we're really looking forward to having you guys and really welcome you, and anything we can do for you, sort of thing. So I'm really looking forward to that too.
Oh, awesome. So Stuart, all the very best at the World Cup, and it's been a pleasure having you on the show today, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Brownie. I've really enjoyed it.
Awesome.